Hey, families, have you had a good laugh today? How important is humor in your parenting experience? Well, today we have a great special guest. We have stand up comedian Lisa Gilbert, and she is going to help us laugh out loud in our parenting journey. So glad to have you here today, Lisa.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, families, welcome. If you're joining us in the podcast, welcome to another episode of Thriving Special Families. If you're joining us live, feel free to add your questions or comments to the chat and to the comment section. We'll do our best to answer those along the way. And lastly, always remember that the information that is shared here is for your informational purposes only. If you're in need of legal or medical advice, please do contact a professional in that area. So today our topic is humor and hope for special families. And again, I'm so happy to have Lisa Gilbert as our special guest.
Hello.
Yes. So Lisa started her stand-up comedy career in her hometown of San Diego, California. Marrying late in life, she's the mom of 9-year-old triplets, and we're going to learn more about that. And that makes her both inspirational and an instant crowd favorite with her clean comedy style and family-friendly jokes. Lisa's opened for internationally known comic Michael Jr., and she's performed for the American Troops. And she's just filmed a dry bar comedy special. Lisa travels nationally, speaking for churches and corporate events. And we get the pleasure of having you here today, Lisa.
Yes, I'm excited.
So how did you get away and have this time with 9-year-old triplets?
Well, you see behind me, the door is closed and locked.
A requirement, probably.
Can't guarantee someone's not going to knock, but I made dinner and I sat the husband and the kids down at the kitchen table and said, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Don't come knocking. When I'm done, I'll come out.
All right. I love it. At that age, they can kind of handle that, I guess.
We'll see.
Yeah, or we'll see.
We'll see.
So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about what led to your career of becoming a stand-up comedian.
Well, honestly, I've always wanted to be a comedian. Like, it just is something for as long as I can remember that I really have always wanted to do. And I think for me growing up, I was adopted in a white home. And so I always kind of felt a little out of sorts. I'm tall. I've always been taller than, everybody else. And so the laughter for me through, junior high and high school was really about just kind of masking some of my own kind of insecurities and fears. But as I grew older and I went to actual, comedy shows in person and some of them were great and some of them were not. And I just thought that the ones that were not, I just thought, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can get up there and bomb, And so I waited. It's funny because I just didn't really know how to get started and what to do. And how do you write jokes? Like I had no clue I have stories. I tell stories at parties or, at work and things like that and make people laugh. But, strangers is something different.
Yeah.
And then a good friend of mine asked me if I wanted to host a show and do a little comedy set. And I'm like, I can host a show, but what kind of, I don't have any jokes. I don't know, So I just said, all right, well, I'll just write some funny stuff down and then you can help me formulate them into some jokes. And that was it. And I have been on the stage ever since.
Wow. How long ago was that?
It was 5 years in April.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got, I feel like I'm pretty blessed in the people that I was introduced to. Because from there I did a show and did pretty well. And then somebody on that show introduced me to somebody that does an all women show. And then I was doing that show, a couple times a month. And then just, different people see you.
Yeah.
And you start off just doing shows wherever. Just stage time is important. And then as you get better, then you can, charge for a show and travel for shows and that kind of thing. So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And so you've come in 5 years from just getting started in that event to now having a dry bar comedy episode? Like,
Yeah, that was huge. I have a good friend, Mark Christopher Lawrence. He's an actor, comedian, and
Mhm.
he kept bugging me, like, and I'm like, I'm not ready for a dry bar special. Like, that's big time,
Yeah.
And then finally he was like, look, this is the email, send it. You're doing your dry bar special.
Yeah.
So I sent my tape in and got an email back, and they said, we'd love to have you. And so
Yeah.
my husband and I flew to Utah
Mhm.
last year, actually. And then the pandemic hit. And so now I'm just waiting. It's supposed to be out. It should be out this summer. I'm just waiting for that to happen because as you can imagine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything was because those shows are live.
Yeah.
They're done in front of a live studio audience, and so
Okay.
they couldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And so it's been on a bit of a hold, but I'm excited. It's going to come out at the perfect time, and yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's so awesome that you were able to, really kind of step out in faith and, you're doing something that brings you joy. I talked to a lot of people about that and about, not waiting to do things because you want to get perfect or you want to get something just right, but just really kind of stepping out there and seeing what happens because, the worst answer could be no. And that's fine, but at least, you tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've always wanted to do. And that's the other thing for me is even though, I didn't have my kids till I was 44 years old. So I did have my kids later in life. And I think for me, what happened then is I watched a lot of my friends, like a lot of my friends. I have some friends with kids my age, but they're also, not 53 years old. They're 33 years old. Or 40. I got some that are in their 40s and have kids in elementary school. But for the most part, my friends that I grew up with, they have grandkids my kids' age. And so I feel like what I learned from being around all these folks that raise their kids is that I didn't want to just kind of be a prisoner to that. That's kind of a bad word, but I wanted to still have a life
Right.
outside of my children. And I'm here with them now because I just retired from my full-time job. So I can be home with them during the day so I won't feel bad about being away from them at night.
Right.
So yeah, I just feel like they have things that they want to do and I have things that I want to do. And I'm not going to not do them.
Wow. That's so beautiful. And families, if you're just joining us, welcome to another episode of Thriving Special Families. We're sponsored by Sanford Autism Consulting, where we offer special needs advocacy and help you advocate for the education your child deserves. Our topic tonight is humor and hope for special families, and we have our special guest, Lisa Gilbert. And we're just diving into Lisa's experience in parenting and how she was able to find her passion later in life. And now she is, really doing it up as a stand-up comedian. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about what makes you different from, let's say, other female comedians.
Well, I have triplets.
That makes you different from a lot of people. Just
there's that. So that's kind of a great thing. It's funny because if you ever watch comedy, whether it be live or online, it's there are certain comedians that kind of have their niche.
Yeah.
And it may be that they're Hispanic, and so they have that kind of following and those jokes about growing up in a Hispanic home or whatever that may be. Some with disabilities that just talk about what those are and make jokes about that. And for me, definitely being a triplet mom and having stories that I tell about how tired I am and how at bedtime I have to rub 3 bellies and you're done at 1, right? Birthday parties and birthday parties for people with just 1 kid, it's pretty easy. But me, I gotta call the city and get a permit and porta potties, right? There's a lot that goes on for a birthday party at 3 kids. It's not like there's not like 12 kids that come to a party. It's like 1,200. It's a lot. It's a lot. So So I think that's what it is. And I do work clean. And it's, not better or good or bad compared to somebody that doesn't. It's just, it's a personal choice for me. Sometimes I'm the only one that's clean on a show. Yeah.
And you're totally okay with that. And you just stand up for, do what you do. Yeah.
I'll just do what I do. All I need to do is be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to tell us a little bit about these triplets. I'd love to hear maybe one of these stories.
Oh boy. They're a lot. So they're 9. They're almost 10. 2 boys and a girl. My boys are identical. And my daughter is not identical. People ask me that all the time, which is funny because she's a girl, so she can't be identical to boys.
No. But that's pretty cool because I don't know if I've seen that a lot. That's probably more rare when it comes to triplets, or is it? I don't even know.
I should probably know that. I should probably know a lot more about triplets than I do, and I don't. What I will tell you is a lot of the triplets, the triplet moms that I know, I don't know any others that had their triplets naturally, meaning no fertility. I got pregnant on my honeymoon. I tell people I got pregnant on my honeymoon, kind of like a Groupon.
Yeah.
With the Groupon, if you would have read the small print, you probably wouldn't have purchased it. So I got pregnant on my honeymoon.
Wow.
And so with that, that's pretty. I don't know anybody else. I don't know any other triplet moms. Not to say that there aren't out there, but for me and the triplet groups that I'm part of, mostly it's fertility. And so it wasn't that for us. We actually scheduled a fertility appointment a month after we got married. Before we got married, we scheduled it for a month in advance, just because I'm like, look, we are 44 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't know what my eggs are doing.
Right.
I don't know how many are left. Are they, I don't know, back in the cobwebs. I don't know what they're doing. Are they gonna come out? I don't know what's gonna happen. So let's go talk to somebody. And then the day before our appointment, I felt like I told my husband, I'm like, I don't think we're gonna go to this appointment. And he was like, why? Are you sick? Are you okay? And I'm like, and at this point, didn't know I was pregnant. I'm like, I don't know. I just my spirit just feels like we're not gonna go for whatever reason. And then I took a pregnancy test. Just
why not?
Why not? Kind of crazy, but yeah, why not? And sure enough, it said pregnant. Wow. And I couldn't believe it. Like I just was like, so I took another one. Yeah. And then I took a third.
One for each.
Yeah. And then my husband was like, stop.
You're really
tests. Yeah. I think you're really pregnant. And if this is an indication of how many, just stop what you're doing right now. So we went to the doctor, and sure enough, they told us that they were twins. I'm a twin, so I was excited about the opportunity because I was separated from my twin at birth, and I didn't get to grow up with my twin. So I was excited about the opportunity of raising twins. Wow. Always wanted twins. Okay. And then we went back for the appointment 2 months later, and they said, "Yeah, there's 3 in there." And I said, yeah, you need to shut up with that.
Don't be adding anything else.
This is funny. And he's like, no. We can't make jokes like that. Yeah. We cannot. So, yeah.
Wow. Man, Lisa, you've got a great story. First of all, I mean, you're adopted at birth. Now you've got this twin you weren't raised with. You raised in a whole different culture. And then you have kids at 44. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
You're amazing.
I'm working on a book now, but boy, it's slow going.
Yeah, that's okay. You've got a lot to share. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I feel pretty blessed.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel a little stressed, but I feel pretty blessed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that, and that's what I talk to parents about. Parents, a lot of majority of my parents who are watching, who I engage with, they're special needs parents. Like myself. I'm a special needs advocate. I'm a speech pathologist, but I'm raising a kid on the autism spectrum. So many of my parents are doing the same or whatever unique challenge, and I talk about, celebrating what your kid is, who your kid is, where you are, and and doing your best with that, because
Yeah.
that's where you are in life, and that's okay. And I try to empower them along their journey. But what advice would you have, let's say, to parents who maybe are in these unique situations?
Yeah, I would say so. I have some difficulty with one of my boys, and it's in comparison, it's probably nothing, but for me, and it's all I know.
Sure.
It's tough, and so um, I think that the biggest thing is that I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I only need to be a good parent
Mhm.
in my kids' eyes
Yeah.
and my husband's eyes, right?
Mhm.
I don't need to be this good mom. I am what I am.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I feel like I do pretty good. Some days I do feel like a bad mom.
Yeah.
Like some days I feel like I need a babysitter here all day. I'm leaving. Like I'm not gonna be here with you guys. I can't do it.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's a lot of frustrating days,
Mhm.
where my kids are like, "Are you mad?" Yes, yes, I am. I'm very mad right now, and
Oh,
I don't know why you're in my room. You have your own. Go in your room. I'm in my room.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
all breathe and then come back.
I love it.
So it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you have a kid that just, you know, has difficulty listening and is all over the place. And we don't
Mhm.
have any official diagnosis, but
Mhm.
it's difficult just because I have to ask a million times for
Yeah.
something to be done.
Yeah.
Why can't you get the shirt off the floor in the living room to the laundry basket in your room, as
Mhm.
opposed to me finding it in the hallway halfway there? What did you do halfway to your room?
Yeah. What happened in that
You
process?
dropped it and did a dance? What did you do? I want to know.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you don't have a phone. You didn't call anybody.
Right.
I don't understand. Um, so just allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then having somebody. I have a great best friend, and not only that, but I have an incredible church community.
Mhm.
And so for me, I have so many outlets and people that I can talk to that
Mhm.
really know me and know my heart, where I can say, I just finished third grade of distance learning. Like I'm not a teacher for a reason.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of days, some of your listeners can probably understand this, but somebody does something wrong and you're like, come on, let's get on the Zoom. Can we get on the Zoom?
Yeah.
And then you stop and you're like, wait, are you muted? Like, how did Cred, are you muted? Everybody get muted. Or the time when you make sure your kid's muted and then you yell at them.
Yeah.
If you can take the time to see if they're muted, then you probably don't need to yell at them,
Right.
right?
I love it. Oh my gosh. How many of
So
us have been there?
yeah, it's just but I mean, if your heart is to not do any harm,
Mhm.
there's not going to be this perfect parenting. And
Yeah.
my goal is to just have my kids grow up and be like, look, there's no question that my mother loved us.
Yeah.
I've never questioned that ever.
Mhm.
Now you don't want to play. You
Yeah.
don't want to mess around with my mama,
Right.
because yeah, but
So
there's no question about her love for us and how she cared for us, and constantly telling my kids, look, I fuss at you a lot, and I'm fussing at you because these are teaching moments, and so it may feel like I'm getting on you, but I'm just trying to teach you that this is the way to go. This is how
Mhm.
to do it. And you'll find your way on your own at some point. But my job as a mom is to kind of teach you this. So I would say, give yourself a break,
Mhm.
particularly if your child's just been diagnosed with whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what it looks like.
Mm.
You can hear somebody talk about it,
Yeah.
but you don't know what bath time, bedtime,
Mhm.
right? You're learning about the sensory overload that your kid may have and what they can handle and can't handle. And a lot of that stuff just blows up in your face and you're like, I had no idea.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so you've got to give yourself a break. You've got to give yourself an outlet
Mm.
to talk about it
Yeah.
and freely talk about it. an outlet where you can really say what you're saying, what you need to say, what you feel like needs to come out of your head and your heart.
Yeah.
Um, and and then take the moments that are good and calm and peaceful,
Yeah.
and just soak those in. It could last for 30 seconds, but just try to soak it in
Yeah.
as best you can, right? Maybe the only break you get sometime is when your kids are asleep. Then walk in their room and look at them.
Mm.
Breathe them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
That is beautiful, man. Okay, I'm gonna do that tonight.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder. You
It could be
mentioned,
the only time that you have some calm, but you got to look. I mean, sometimes I go in and look at my kids and I cry, and it happens more often than I would think. Like it really is just, man, you guys drove me nuts today. And I feel like I hollered all day at you guys, but now here you are,
yeah,
safe and with me and asleep
yeah,
and quiet
yeah.
and not saying nothing.
Mhm.
You know,
It's beautiful, beautiful time.
it's a beautiful time.
Oh gosh, and I got a listener here. She's she tells us amen because you could totally relate.
I
Definitely.
see you.
Yes, yes. This is so good. Parents, I hope you're listening. I hope you're taking away some nuggets here from our special guest, Lisa Gilbert, stand-up comedian and triplet mom. Definitely some really good points here of just kind of taking it in, giving yourself some grace. Families, again, what it looks like for one parent is definitely going to look different for another. So giving yourself some grace, especially early on, having some good outlets, and then really relishing in those moments and finding those moments of calm and celebrating those small things. I'm working on a project right now where I'm creating an outline and a resource for new parents. And that's one of the things I say is journal, and find your tribe. You've got to get those thoughts. We can get so wrapped up in our own minds, so finding a space to get that out, if it's on paper, or if it's, video recorded, whatever, or have people that you can get real with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, if it's something that can happen and you can get a sitter, get some respite and figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I probably get a sitter, gosh, once or twice a week. And it may be because I have a show and my husband's working.
Sure.
Or it may be like tomorrow, I got to get out of the house.
And
so I've got a great sitter that comes in and takes the kids to the park and runs around. So I don't have to. It just, it just is. Yeah. I don't have plans for anything other than not being here.
I love that.
And I don't feel bad about it because all I've done is I've added a villager to my village. I was a villager for a long time.
Yeah.
Taking people's kids and doing all this stuff. And now it's my turn.
Oh, man. That's so good, Lisa. That's so liberating. Parents, I hope you hear that. Take that time for yourself. That self-care is so valuable. And Lisa, we're kind of getting toward the end here, but you can speak from so many different positions. Also, you kind of mentioned that you just retired. You've been a social worker, so you've worked with families in different capacities. So that's another layer that you can kind of speak from, and I'm sure glean from in your own parenting.
Yeah, it definitely was a social worker for 25 years and just retired last March. So I definitely, thank you. I definitely have some experience working with families and again, really encouraging families in an area that I don't really know a lot about myself. But what I do know is that there are people out there that do know really well, like yourself, Crystal, right? There are people and supports out there. It's just helping people find them and then find the right one. Because all support groups aren't for everybody. All therapies aren't for everybody, right? So finding it. And then if you get into something that's not working for you, then gracefully back out and then head on into something else. But don't do this alone. If you're a single parent, right? Don't feel like you have to do it just by yourself. There's just so much out there. And I know, Crystal, I follow you on all your Instagram, on everything, right? Facebook, I follow you. And there's so much that you offer to these families. And so I just encourage people to really, really don't feel shame or don't doubt yourself. Don't feel like you have to do it alone, that you're this bad parent, you caused it. Just don't do all that. Just seek the resources and create a village for yourself, and then use your villagers. Use them.
Wow. That's so good. That's so liberating. And thank you so much for the kind words. It is a labor of love. I have been in the side of the professional. I have been, I'm the parent, and so I get it. And I try to just share as much as I can. I always think about what would I want to know? What resources would I want to have? And so that's kind of where I use that as the guide and helping families. So yeah, thank you so
Good
much.
trial and error too. It's kind of like hair products. Not really. You know what I mean? Where you just try this hair product on and you paid so much money for it and then it doesn't work and you get a whole bottle of it and then you try another hair product and that doesn't work. It's kind of like that. Probably not the best example, but at any rate, just keep trying things on.
Yeah.
Trying, like I said, different groups and people and friends and then your own self-care.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody's going to go to the gym.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
people are going to eat a gallon of ice cream for their self-care. It's not for me to say what's right for you. What it's right for me to say is that you find something that works for you, put it on your calendar, and do it. Get it done.
I love that. And I love that whatever works for you, as long as it's not anything destructive, if it's something that brings you joy, go for that. You've just got to make some space for yourself. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow. So Lisa, what parting words do you have for our parents? I think we need another joke. We need another story about these kids.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Can I tell a funny story about body parts?
I think you're allowed because, hey.
If I use the correct term for the body part?
Yes, you're allowed.
So this is the thing. It's important to teach your kids the right name to body parts.
Yes.
Right? The right name. It's important. The problem is, and you parents out there, you already know this. When you do that, then they want to talk about it all the time, everywhere.
Yes, you're so right.
Everywhere. I'm walking with my daughter hand in hand, and she looks up at me and she says very loudly, "Hey, Mom, you got a vagina." Yeah. And then she pats it.
Oh, okay.
And then she says even louder, "And I've got a vagina too."
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Zoe, maybe we don't want to talk about this in the church lobby.
Right. Oh, no, not the church lobby. That's the perfect place to talk about it because that's what.
It's the perfect place to talk about it. And all you can do is just, look around and smile at the people that have just heard your kid talk about vagina in the middle of church lobby, right?
Yep, that's what you do. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Kids are so, what's the TV show? Kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
They're just so pure. They're questioning, they're learning, and whatever they think about just comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're constantly as parents like, shh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Shh, be quiet. Don't say that. This isn't a place to say it. We'll talk about it in the car. Yeah, they don't want to talk about it in the car. They want to talk about it in church lobby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right here, right now. Yeah.
Right here, right now. So I would just say that. Love yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. You love yourself, because if you love yourself well, then you can love other people well. And that does include your children.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Great words, great parting words. It has just been an honor to have you here, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wow. Families, I hope that you have just gained some truth nuggets and had a good time in enjoying and learning from Lisa Gilbert, our resident stand-up comedian and triplet mom. Lisa, how can families find out more about you? Where are you going to be performing? All that good stuff.
Oh, my goodness. So let's see. I am, you can follow me on Lisa Gilbert Comedy, both on Instagram and Facebook. I post my shows there. Okay. I've got some good shows coming up, and I perform all over the place. I've got a great show coming up in Linda Vista at a church there. It's a family-friendly show, awesome. Which I love to do because then I can bring my own kids who get to see what mommy's leaving the house for to do.
That's great.
So it's nice. And it's nice too for people that, can't find a babysitter or don't want to do a babysitter. But yeah, you can find my shows there. I also do corporate events, and I also do mostly churches. I like to do churches. So women's events or marriage events. Also have some stuff that I do with high school students. And fundraisers. Fundraisers are huge. Comedy fundraisers are, good way to raise some money for things. So Lisa Gilbert Comedy at gmail.com. Or you can also find me on Facebook, Lisa Gilbert, and Instagram, and message me there. And yeah.
Oh, great. That's great. And your Dry Bar comedy episode. Can't wait. Looking.
Ooh, I can't wait. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
All right, families, check out Lisa. You need to laugh. Okay. It's therapy. It's good for the soul. And it's a good way of self-care and taking care of yourself.
It is. I have a YouTube channel. So if you can't make it out, then hop on my YouTube channel, Lisa Gilbert Comedy, and watch some funny there too.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So when the kids are asleep, you took that look at them, then go somewhere and watch a little YouTube and enjoy yourself. That's great.
Yep, absolutely.
That's great. All right, families. Well, always remember that you're going to be okay and your child is going to be okay too. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.